I told my boyfriend that if he grabbed the steering wheel while I was driving again, I'd leave him on the side of the road, and he tried to call my bluff. The first time it happened, I thought it was a reflex. We were driving home from dinner and I was changing lanes on the highway when Ryan suddenly reached over and jerked the wheel back. I nearly rear-ended the car in front of us. I screamed at him, asking what the hell he was thinking. He said he thought I didn't see the truck in my blind spot. There was no truck. I'd checked twice before merging, but I let it go because we'd been together for 2 years and he'd never done anything like that before. The second time was a week later. I was making a left turn at a green arrow when his hand shot out and grabbed the wheel, forcing me to go straight instead. The car behind me slammed on their brakes and honked for 30 seconds. Ryan apologized and said he'd had a bad feeling about that intersection. A bad feeling. About an intersection with a protected left turn. I told him clearly that night, if you ever grab my steering wheel again while I'm driving, I will pull over and leave you on the side of the road. I don't care where we are or what time it is. You'll figure out your own way home. He promised it wouldn't happen again. 3 weeks went by without incident. I started to relax. Then we were driving to his brother's birthday party, taking the back roads because traffic was bad on the highway. It was a route I'd driven 100 times. Ryan was quiet the whole ride, which wasn't unusual, but he kept checking his phone and glancing at the road signs. We were approaching Miller Creek Road when I put my turn signal on. That's when Ryan grabbed the wheel and yanked it hard to the right, almost sending us into a ditch. I slammed on the brakes and pulled over to the shoulder. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely put the car in park. I looked at him and told him to get out. He laughed and said I wasn't serious. I unlocked the doors and told him again, get out of my car. Now, his face changed then. Something flickered across it that I'd never seen before. He asked if I was really going to leave him on the side of the road 5 miles from anywhere. I said yes. He sat there for a minute, then opened the door and stepped out. I drove away without looking back. He didn't call me that night, didn't text. The next morning, nothing. I figured he'd gotten a ride from his brother and was giving me the silent treatment. Fine. I wasn't going to apologize for having boundaries, but then things started getting strange. My car started making a clicking sound near the front left wheel. I took it to my mechanic, and he called me into the shop with a weird look on his face. He showed me something attached to the underside of my car, near the wheel well. A small black box with a blinking light. He asked if I knew what it was. I didn't. That night, I searched Ryan's name online just to clear my head. I found an article from 6 years ago about a car accident on Miller Creek Road. A woman named Danielle had died when her car went off the bridge. The driver who survived was her boyfriend at the time. His name was Ryan. I kept searching, found his social media from back then, photos of him and Danielle together. She looked happy. He looked the same as he did now. The comments on the memorial posts were full of people saying how tragic it was, how Ryan had tried to grab the wheel but couldn't save her. My stomach turned. I read that line 3 more times. Ryan had tried to grab the wheel. I started going through everything I knew about Ryan with new eyes. The routes he always insisted we take, the intersections he'd get tense at, the way he'd grip his seat when I drove anywhere near water. Miller Creek Road had a bridge over the creek, the same bridge where Danielle died. I called my friend Hannah and told her everything. She asked if maybe Ryan just had trauma from the accident and was being overprotective. That made sense. That was logical, but something still felt wrong. I drove out to Miller Creek Road the next day by myself. I wanted to see the bridge, to understand what had happened there. The road was quiet, winding through trees with no houses for miles. I parked near the bridge and got out. There was a small memorial on the side of the road, flowers that looked fresh, a photo of Danielle in a frame, and underneath it, a note in handwriting I recognized. The note said, "I'm sorry I couldn't stop her in time, but I found someone who looks just like you, and this time, I won't let her leave." Because the rest of the story is on my channel or linked below. My hands are shaking as I get back into my car. I don't look at the memorial again, don't want to see that note with its chilling message. I lock the doors and pull away from Miller Creek Bridge, my mind racing faster than the car. I found someone who looks just like you, and this time I won't let her leave. The words echo in my head as I drive, no destination in mind except away. Away from that bridge, away from that note, away from the realization that's forming in my mind like ice crystals, sharp and cold and terrifying. After about 15 minutes of aimless driving, I pull into the empty parking lot of a closed seasonal farm stand. My breathing is shallow, and I force myself to take deep breaths. I need to think clearly. The tracking device. I need to check if it's still there. I get out and crouch beside my car, peering underneath at the wheel well where my mechanic found it. The small black box is gone. The mechanic removed it yesterday, but the sight of the empty spot where it was attached makes my stomach clench. How long had Ryan been tracking me? How many times had he followed me without my knowledge? I sit back in my car and pull out my phone, dialing Hannah with trembling fingers. "Hey, what's up?" Hannah answers, her voice casual, normal, a reminder that the world is still spinning while mine feels like it's collapsing. "Hannah," I say, my voice breaking. "I went to Miller Creek Bridge today. By yourself? Why would you—" "There was a memorial for Danielle, with fresh flowers." I swallow hard. "And a note from Ryan." "What did it say?" The casualness is gone from her voice. I repeat the words that are now burned into my memory. The silence on the other end of the line stretches for several seconds. "Hannah, I'm calling the police," she says firmly. "And tell them what? That my ex-boyfriend left a creepy note? That he maybe has a thing for women who look like his dead girlfriend? They'll tell me to get a restraining order at most. This isn't normal, and you know it," Hannah insists. "The tracking device, the note, he's stalking you." "I need to know more first," I say, an idea forming. "I need to understand what happened with Danielle." After hanging up with Hannah, I sit in my car and pull up Ryan's social media on my phone. I've looked at it before, of course, but now I'm searching with new eyes, scrolling back through years of posts. There's a gap in his social media activity around the time of Danielle's death. He went silent for nearly 2 months after the accident, then returned with vague posts about moving forward and honoring her memory. Nothing specific about the accident itself. I keep scrolling back, looking at photos of them together. Danielle was pretty, with long dark hair like mine, same height, similar build. I'd never seen photos of her before yesterday, never realized how much we resembled each other. A chill runs through me as I keep scrolling, going back further. Before Danielle, there were other women. I find a photo from 8 years ago, Ryan with his arm around a woman named Melissa, dark hair, similar height and build to me, to Danielle. And before her, a woman named Jess, from when Ryan lived in Seattle. Again, the same type, dark hair, slender build, similar features, 3 women, all looking remarkably alike, all dating Ryan in succession. I switch to searching news archives, typing in their names along with accident and Seattle. Nothing comes up for Jess, but when I search for Melissa, I find a small article from a local newspaper about a car accident 7 years ago. A car went off the road near a reservoir outside Portland. The driver, Melissa Winters, was hospitalized with serious injuries. The passenger, identified as Ryan Lawson, suffered minor injuries. My blood runs cold. Another car accident. Another woman who looked like me. Another incident where Ryan was the passenger who walked away relatively unharmed. I search for more information about Melissa Winters but find nothing recent. No social media profiles, no current address. It's as if she disappeared after the accident. I start the car, my mind made up. I need to talk to Hannah in person. I need to show her what I found. The coincidences are too many, too specific to ignore. As I drive to Hannah's apartment, I keep checking my rearview mirror, suddenly paranoid that every car behind me might be Ryan following. The clicking sound my car had been making is gone now that the tracking device is removed, but I can still hear it in my memory. I park in front of Hannah's building and hurry inside, looking over my shoulder the entire time. When she opens the door, her face is already set with concern. I found something, I tell her as soon as I'm inside. Ryan has a type, and his type keeps having car accidents. I show her the photos, the article about Melissa, explain the pattern I found. Hannah's expression grows more troubled with each detail. This isn't coincidence, she says finally. Have you checked his current social media? Maybe there's something there. I hadn't thought to look at his recent activity. I pull out my phone and open his Instagram profile. There's nothing new posted since before our breakup, but when I check his following list, a username catches my eye. Daniela Forever 2. My hands shake as I tap on the profile. It's private, with no public photos, but the profile picture makes my heart stop. It's a photo of me, a photo I never posted, never shared. It's me sleeping in Ryan's bed, taken without my knowledge. Hannah, I whisper, turning the screen toward her. I think he didn't just find someone who looks like Danielle. I think he's been planning this all along. I sit in Hannah's apartment, staring at my phone screen, at the photo of me sleeping that I never knew existed. A sick feeling spreads through my stomach. We need to go to your apartment, Hannah says, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. Right now. You need to pack some things and stay with me for a while. I nod numbly, still processing everything. The pattern of women who looked like me, the accidents, the tracking device, and now this proof that Ryan had been watching me, photographing me without my knowledge. What if he's there? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Then we call the police immediately, Hannah says, grabbing her keys. But I doubt he will be. He's smarter than that. The drive to my apartment is tense. I keep checking the mirrors, scanning every car behind us, jumping at shadows. When we arrive, the parking lot seems normal. No sign of Ryan's blue Mazda. Wait here, Hannah says, pulling out her pepper spray. I'll check first. No, we go together, I insist. I'm not letting you walk into potential danger alone. My apartment door is locked, just as I left it. Nothing seems disturbed in the entryway, but as we move deeper inside, small things begin to jump out at me. A coffee mug that's been moved from where I left it. My laptop open at a slightly different angle than I remember. Hannah, I whisper, pointing to my bedroom door. It's slightly ajar, though I distinctly remember closing it before leaving this morning. Hannah raises her pepper spray as we approach. I push the door open slowly, and my breath catches in my throat. My bed is made, but I didn't make it this morning. On the pillow is a small dried flower, the same type that was at Danielle's memorial. He's been here, I say, my voice shaking. He's been in my apartment, in my bedroom. Hannah pulls me back toward the door. Pack a bag. Quickly, we're not staying here. As I grab clothes and essentials, Hannah checks the rest of the apartment. She returns holding something small between her fingers. I found this behind your bathroom mirror, she says, showing me a tiny black device no bigger than a button. Is that a camera? She confirms grimly. And I bet it's not the only one. We spend the next half hour searching the apartment, finding 3 more hidden cameras, one in the living room bookshelf, one in the kitchen smoke detector, and another in my bedroom lamp. Each discovery makes me feel more violated, more terrified. We need to go to the police, Hannah says as we bag the cameras as evidence. At the police station, the officer taking our report looks bored as I explain about Ryan grabbing the wheel, the tracking device, the memorial note, and now the cameras in my apartment. So, you're saying your ex-boyfriend put cameras in your apartment? Officer Mendez says, typing slowly. Do you have any proof it was him specifically who placed them? Who else would it be? I ask, frustration building. He's been stalking me, tracking my car. Ma'am, without concrete evidence linking him to the placement of these devices, there's not much we can do. You can file for a restraining order, but I have more, I interrupt, pulling out my phone. I show him the Daniela Forever 2 Instagram account with my sleeping photo. This is me. I never took this picture or posted it anywhere. Ryan did. Officer Mendez looks slightly more interested but still skeptical. Social media accounts can be complicated to trace. We can look into it, but again, proving who created the account might be difficult. We leave the station with nothing but a case number and a pamphlet about stalking. Hannah squeezes my hand as we walk to her car. They're not going to help help until something terrible happens, are they? I ask quietly. Then we help ourselves, Hannah says. Starting now. Back at Hannah's apartment, we install a security camera system she picks up from an electronics store. We position cameras to watch the front door, the parking lot, and the street view. He won't know we're watching him back, Hannah says as she sets up the app on our phones. That night, I barely sleep, checking the camera feed every few minutes. Around 3 a.m., a notification pops up. Movement detected. My heart pounds as I open the app. A figure stands in the parking lot, looking up at Hannah's apartment. Even in the grainy night vision, I recognize Ryan's silhouette. He doesn't approach the building, just stands there, watching, for nearly 20 minutes before walking away. The next morning, Hannah calls in sick to work to help me. We spread my laptop, her tablet, and printouts across her dining table, creating a makeshift investigation board. We need to find Melissa Winters, Hannah says, referring to Ryan's girlfriend before Danielle, the one who was in the accident near the reservoir. We spend hours searching social media, news archives, and public records. Finally, Hannah finds a LinkedIn profile for a Melissa Winters living in Boise, Idaho. The profile photo shows a woman with short blonde hair, nothing like the dark-haired woman in the photos with Ryan. This has to be her, I say. She changed her appearance completely. After several attempts, we managed to connect with Melissa through a message explaining our situation. Her response comes within an hour. I've been waiting for this call for years. He's done it again, hasn't he? That evening, we video chat with Melissa. Her face is different than in the old photos, not just the blonde hair, but subtle changes suggesting reconstructive surgery. The accident wasn't an accident, she says without preamble. Ryan grabbed the wheel when we were driving near the reservoir. He yanked it hard toward the water. I fought him for control, but we went off the road. The car rolled 3 times before hitting a tree that stopped us from going into the water. My blood runs cold hearing her words, so similar to my own experience. Did you report it? Hannah asks. Melissa laughs bitterly. Of course. The police said it was my word against his, and he was very convincing about trying to save us from a deer in the road. By the time I was out of the hospital, he'd already moved to your city and started dating Danielle, and she died in a car accident, I say quietly. Melissa nods. When I saw the news article, I tried calling your local police. They took a statement, but nothing came of it. Then I changed my name, my appearance, moved across the country. I thought I was being paranoid until you contacted me. After we end the call, Hannah and I sit in stunned silence. Finally, Hannah speaks. We need more evidence. Something concrete the police can't ignore. The security app chimes again. Ryan's car is slowly driving past Hannah's apartment, not stopping, just passing by, watching. He knows I'm here, I whisper, and he's not going to stop. The flowers arrive the morning after we discover Ryan watching Hannah's apartment. A dozen red roses with a small white card nestled among the blooms. The delivery person is gone before I can ask who sent them, though we both already know. Don't touch them, Hannah warns as I reach for the card. She grabs a pen from her counter and uses it to flip the card open. The handwriting makes my stomach drop. It's not Ryan's blocky script. It's delicate, feminine cursive, an exact match to a birthday card Danielle had written to Ryan that I'd seen in a photo on his social media. I miss you already. Can't wait to see you again. The signature is a simple heart. He's mimicking her handwriting, I whisper, backing away from the flowers as if they might attack. How would he even know what her handwriting looked like? Hannah's face hardens. We need to find out exactly what he's been up to. Melissa mentioned he kept mementos from their relationship. I bet he's done the same with all of you. But where would he keep them? I ask. I've been to his apartment dozens of times and never saw anything unusual. Hannah pulls out her laptop. People like Ryan often have storage units, places to keep their collections. We spend the next hour searching property records and rental agreements under Ryan's name. Nothing comes up initially, but then Hannah tries a variation of his middle name combined with his mother's maiden name. Got it, she says, turning the screen toward me. A storage unit at Secure Lock Storage on Westfield Drive, rented 3 years ago to R. James Lawson. The storage facility is a sprawling complex of identical orange doors with keypad locks. We park across the street, watching the entrance. How do we get in? I ask. Hannah pulls out her phone. I have an idea, but it's not exactly legal. She calls the storage facility, putting on a panicked voice. Hi, this is Melissa Lawson. My husband Ryan rented Unit 217, but I've lost the code and I really need to get in today. Our moving truck is coming and yes, R. James Lawson, that's right. I watch in amazement as she smoothly provides enough personal information about Ryan to convince the manager to reset the code. When she hangs up, she looks grimly satisfied. We have 1 hour before they call his registered number to confirm the reset. The unit is at the back of the complex, away from the main office. Hannah punches in the new code and the lock clicks open. She slides the door up and we step into darkness. When Hannah flips on her phone flashlight, I nearly vomit. The walls are covered with photos, hundreds of them. Me, Danielle, Melissa, and another woman I don't recognize, presumably Jess. In some sections, the photos are arranged chronologically. In others, they're grouped by similarity, all 4 of us smiling, all 4 of us sleeping, all 4 of us driving. Oh my God, Hannah whispers, her light falling on a collection of shelves against the back wall. Each shelf is labeled with a name: Jess, Melissa, Danielle, and mine. On Jess's shelf, a hairbrush with dark strands still caught in the bristles, a worn leather journal, keys on a dolphin keychain. On Melissa's, a silver bracelet, a university ID card, a phone with a cracked screen. Danielle's shelf is the most extensive clothing items, makeup, a laptop, and a small wooden box that, when Hannah carefully opens it, contains jewelry. My shelf is still being assembled. There's the coffee mug that had been moved in my apartment, my favorite scarf that I'd thought I'd lost, a toothbrush I'd recently replaced, thinking the old one had been thrown away. He's been collecting us, I say, my voice hollow, like we're interchangeable parts of the same person. In the corner stands hands a desk with a laptop and printer. Hannah moves toward it. Let's see what else he's been planning. The laptop is password protected, but Hannah finds a notebook beside it with what looks like journal entries. I flip through it while she photographs everything with her phone. Hannah, I say, my fingers stopping on a page dated just 3 days ago. He's planning something for tomorrow night on Miller Creek Road. The entry details how he'll finally complete what should have happened years ago. How this time there will be no mistakes. How the water will welcome her home. He's going to try to kill you, Hannah says, her voice shaking. Just like he tried to kill Melissa. Just like he killed Danielle. We need to go to the police with this, I say, already heading for the door. Wait, Hannah stops me. They didn't believe us before. What if they don't act quickly enough? We have one advantage right now. He doesn't know we know. What are you suggesting? A trap, Hannah says, her eyes gleaming with determination. We give him exactly what he wants, except it won't be you in the car. The plan comes together quickly. Hannah will drive my car along Miller Creek Road tomorrow night. I'll be following at a distance in her car with a police officer I trust, Officer Chen, who Hannah went to high school with and who believes our story after seeing the evidence from the storage unit. He'll think it's you driving, Hannah explains. He'll make his move, and Chen will witness it firsthand. I shake my head. It's too dangerous. What if something goes wrong? I'll be fine, Hannah insists. Chen will have backup units nearby, and Ryan won't expect resistance. He thinks his victims are helpless. That night, I barely sleep, going over every detail of our plan. What if Ryan recognizes it's not me? What if he hurts Hannah? What if the police aren't fast enough? The next evening arrives too quickly. Hannah puts on my jacket and pulls her hair back the way I usually wear mine. From a distance, in the darkness of Miller Creek Road, the resemblance should be convincing enough. Be careful, I plead as she gets into my car. Always am, she says with a confidence I wish I felt. Just stay far enough back that he doesn't spot you. I watch her drive away, my heart in my throat, before climbing into her car where Officer Chen waits in the passenger seat. We've got units positioned along the route, Chen assures me. As soon as he makes a move, we'll have him. We follow at a distance, headlights off, using only moonlight to guide us along the familiar road. As we approach Miller Creek Bridge, I see my car slow down, just as planned. Hannah is making it look like the driver is hesitant, remembering Danielle's fate. Then, suddenly, headlights appear behind my car, Ryan's blue Mazda, closing fast. That's him, I whisper to Chen, who is already radioing the other units. We watch in horror as Ryan's car accelerates, pulling alongside my car. Even from this distance, I can see him swerve toward Hannah, trying to force her off the road toward the water. Hannah fights for control, expertly handling the car as Ryan makes another aggressive move. This time, his car makes contact with mine, the sound of metal scraping metal carrying through the night air. Now! Chen shouts into her radio, and suddenly police lights flash from both sides of the road. Ryan's car jerks in surprise, then accelerates, trying to escape, but a police cruiser appears ahead, blocking his path. He swerves, loses control, and spins to a stop on the shoulder. Within seconds, officers surround his car, weapons drawn. I watch as they pull Ryan out, force him to the ground, and handcuff him. His face is twisted with rage and confusion as he looks around, trying to understand what happened. When Hannah steps out of my car, unharmed but shaking, I run to her, throwing my arms around her. You did it, I whisper. You got him. Ryan's eyes find mine over Hannah's shoulder, and the look of pure hatred makes me shudder. But then Officer Chen steps between us, blocking his view. Ryan Lawson, she says formally, you're under arrest for attempted murder, stalking, breaking and entering, and a whole list of other charges we'll sort out at the station. As they put Ryan in the back of a police car, I feel a weight lift from my shoulders. The nightmare isn't completely over. There will be statements to give, a trial to endure, and healing to do. But for the first time since I discovered that tracking device, I can breathe freely. Let's go home, Hannah says, putting her arm around my shoulders. I think we both need a very strong drink. I look back at Miller Creek Bridge one last time, thinking of Danielle and the other women who came before me. It's over, I whisper, though I'm not sure if I'm telling them or myself. He can't hurt anyone else now. The police search of Ryan's house begins 2 days after his arrest. I stand in the driveway, watching officers in latex gloves carry out box after box of evidence. Detective Rivera, the lead investigator, invited me to be present partly as a courtesy, and partly because they want me to identify anything that might be mine. You don't have to go inside if you don't want to, Hannah says, standing beside me with her arms crossed tightly over her chest. She hasn't left my side since the night on Miller Creek Road. I need to see, I tell her. I need to understand what I was dealing with. Detective Rivera approaches us, his expression grim. We're ready if you want to come in. Just prepare yourself. It's not what you'd expect. The living room of Ryan's house looks normal, the same furniture and decorations I'd seen dozens of times during our relationship. But as Rivera leads us down the hallway toward the master bedroom, the atmosphere changes. The door is painted a different color than the others, a soft blue that seems oddly familiar. That's the same color as Danielle's bedroom door in her parents' house, I whisper to Hannah. I saw it in photos. Rivera pushes the door open, and I freeze in the doorway. The room has been transformed into a shrine. One wall is covered entirely with photos of Danielle candid shots, posed portraits, images clearly taken without her knowledge. But what makes my stomach turn is the collection of photos interspersed throughout photos of me with my face carefully edited onto Danielle's body, or Danielle's face edited onto mine. He was merging you, Rivera explains quietly, creating a fantasy where you and Danielle were the same person. In the center of the room sits a glass display case containing what appears to be personal items, a hairbrush with long dark strands still caught in the bristles, a lipstick tube worn down to a nub, a silver charm bracelet. Those belong to Danielle, Rivera confirms. Her parents identified them this morning. But what draws my attention is the desk in the corner. Stacks of notebooks books fill the surface, each labeled with dates. Rivera notices my gaze. His journals, he explains. They go back 8 years, detailing his relationships with all 4 women, including you. Have you read them? I ask, my voice barely audible. Rivera nods. Enough to understand what happened. He documented everything, including his deliberate attempt to cause Danielle's accident. My legs feel weak suddenly, and Hannah guides me to sit on a chair that an officer has determined is safe to touch. He wrote about it? I ask. In explicit detail, Rivera says, opening one of the evidence bags containing a journal. He described how he'd been planning it for weeks, how he chose Miller Creek Road because of the sharp curve before the bridge and the deep water below, how he waited until they were approaching the bridge at night, then grabbed the wheel and yanked it toward the guardrail. I close my eyes, picturing the scene, remembering how it felt when Ryan grabbed my wheel in the same spot. Danielle fought him, Rivera continues, reading from his notes. She managed to keep the car from going directly into the water, but they hit the guardrail and the impact was enough to send them over the edge. Ryan was thrown clear when the car hit the water. Danielle wasn't, and he let her drown, Hannah whispers. Rivera nods grimly. According to his journal, he watched from the bank as the car sank. He could have tried to help her, but he didn't. Then he created the narrative about trying to save her, about grabbing the wheel to avoid an animal in the road. What about Melissa? I ask. The woman in Portland? We've reopened that case based on the evidence found here, Rivera says. Ryan documented his attempt to kill her too, though he was less successful. The journal entries suggest he was frustrated that she survived, that she ruined his plan. I feel sick imagining how close I came to becoming another entry in his journals, another victim at the bottom of the creek. There's something else you should see, Rivera says after a moment. He leads us to what should be the guest bedroom, but when he opens the door, I gasp. The room is an exact replica of my bedroom, down to the pattern of my comforter and the arrangement of photos on my dresser. But it's not quite right. It's like seeing your reflection in a funhouse mirror, familiar yet distorted. We believe he was preparing this for after. Rivera trails off, not needing to finish the sentence. After he killed me, I say flatly. Hannah's arm tightens around my shoulders. But he didn't. You're here, and he's going to prison. The trial begins 3 months later. I sit in the courtroom every day, listening to testimony from forensic experts, psychologists, and the detectives who built the case. Melissa Winters flies in to testify about her accident, her face still showing the scars of what Ryan did to her. When it's my turn to take the stand, I look directly at Ryan as I describe the 3 times he grabbed my wheel, the tracking device, the cameras in my apartment. His expression never changes, a blank mask that occasionally twitches into something like a smile when I describe my fear. And why did you go to Miller Creek Bridge that day? The prosecutor asks. I needed to understand what happened to Danielle, I reply. I needed to see where she died. And what did you find there? A memorial with fresh flowers and a note from Ryan saying he'd found someone who looked like Danielle, and this time he wouldn't let her leave. The jury deliberates for less than 4 hours before returning with their verdict. Guilty on all counts, including first-degree murder, attempted murder, stalking, breaking and entering, and criminal harassment. At the sentencing hearing 2 weeks later, the judge looks at Ryan with undisguised contempt. Mr. Lawson, you have demonstrated a pattern of predatory behavior that culminated in the death of 1 woman and nearly claimed the lives of 2 others, she says. You are a danger to society, particularly to women who have the misfortune of resembling your ideal victim. I hereby sentence you to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. As they lead Ryan away, he turns to look at me one last time. I meet his gaze steadily, refusing to show fear. Hannah squeezes my hand, and I squeeze back, grateful for her unwavering support throughout this nightmare. Outside the courthouse, reporters crowd around us, shouting questions. Detective Rivera helps us navigate through the throng to my car, a new one I purchased after selling my old one. I couldn't bear to drive it again after everything that happened. How does it feel? Like I can breathe again, I reply honestly. Like I'm finally free. When we reach my new apartment, I couldn't stay in the old one after discovering the cameras. Hannah helps me install the final piece of my recovery. A steering wheel lock, bright yellow and impossible to miss. Is that really necessary? She asks as I click it into place. It's not about him anymore, I explain, running my fingers over the lock. It's about me feeling safe behind the wheel again, about reclaiming what he tried to take from me. That weekend, I drive to Miller Creek Bridge alone. The memorial for Danielle is still there, but the threatening note is gone, taken as evidence. I place a small bouquet of flowers beside her photo. I'm sorry he used me to try to replace you, I whisper. I hope you found peace. On the drive home, I take the long route, including a stretch of highway where Ryan first grabbed my wheel. My hands are steady on the steering wheel, my breathing calm and even. When I approach an intersection with a protected left turn, the site of the second incident, I signal and make the turn without hesitation. The road stretches before me, open and full of possibilities. For the first time in months, I drive without checking my rearview mirror for signs of being followed, without tensing at every intersection, without fear. I am driving my own path now, and no one will ever take that control from me again.